Hey everybody, this is Sage Valentine, and this is my review of Hannibal Season 2, Episode 10, Naka-choko. We have 3 episodes left. Judging by this episode and the craziness that ensued in this episode, which makes all the other 20-some-odd episodes look tame, we are in for it for the next 3 episodes. So just big spoiler alert, if you did not watch the episode yet and you're watching this video, just come back to the video because I'm going to spoil it completely for you. I did not sign up for Will's brand of crazy. I miss Hannibal eating people all alone by himself, preparing those wonderful dishes by himself. I knew eventually, and I've said it in my other reviews, that we were about to see Will's brand of crazy. We have seen it, and I don't want to see it anymore because I do not like it. It's darker than Hannibal. Wow, I was unprepared. But on a lighter note, we finally get to see Michael Pitt, and he did not disappoint this episode. He was something else. Hair and fabulous outfit and little pet and everything else. Little piglets, everything else. But anyway, a Naka-choko is another palate cleanser. It's a light acidic soup. So I'm assuming that, I guess, episode 13 will be the final piece de resistance, the final, the main course, I guess. We're getting close to it. So we hear doggies whimpering and barking, and we basically see a reverse view of what happened at the end of last episode when Will was, battling with Randall Tier. And only this time, what ends up breaking through the glass is the Wendigo of Hannibal. And Will's fighting it, and they're like going back and forth, and the next thing you know, he's like beating it with his fists, and then he breaks its neck, and right before he breaks its neck, because you see it's in like the oily, greasy form, it turns into Hannibal, and then it turns into the guy inside the thingy. So basically, like I said, Hannibal comes home, he sees Randall dead. He repeats the lines of last week, only adding, consider that a reciprocity. So he said that it's the prospect of death that drives us to greatness. Will says that death was intimate because he, instead of using a gun, he used his fist because his knuckles are all messed up. So you see water being poured into something, and like Hannibal sitting there cleaning Will's knuckles. I'm like, this is like a weird, freaky scene, and not in a good way. So anyway, Hannibal tells Will, don't go inside. You'll want to retreat, but I want you to stay with me. And Will's like, where else can I go? So in other words, we're seeing this relationship between Will and Hannibal that in the beginning was fractured is slowly becoming some like pseudo-sexual thing going on. It's craziness. Gosh, like, oh. But anyway, Hannibal is pleased. He knows Will fantasized about killing him. He's alright, he's cool with that. Will said that he felt alive while killing Randall T. So, or Randall Tier. Hannibal says that Will owes Randall a debt. So Hannibal's version of a debt is Will making this weird monument of Randall's body parts into this like skeleton thing. And Jack comes into the room. You see these beautiful high like cathedral ceilings. And Jack sees Randall dead. And he says that the remains were set up like an animal on display. The FBI comes in there. Everybody's looking at everything. The killer chose not to dispose of the body, only to display him. Now, in this scene, it's like Will and Hannibal are talking about the killer, but we all know Will did it with Hannibal's help. But it's weird how Jack is not really... We're still not getting that perspective that Jack is picking up what is going on. It's like Jack is so oblivious. So Will says that the killer has no guilt and is displaying him. He hallucinates, and then we start with the pendulum. I love that little thing. Hello again, says the head. Clear or unclear. And then you see somebody upstairs watching, so I'm assuming that person watching is probably Hannibal in Will's mind. And he says, you forced me to kill you. And then Randall says, you made me a monument, basically, to you. And I guess Will said something along the lines of he made Randall look the way that he saw him, the way that he viewed him. So he said, "This is my design." Will says that whoever killed Randall was someone like him with a different pathology. So Hannibal says, this is a fledgling killer, and whoever killed Randall, in Will's words, was envious of all that Randall could do and achieve, because that person couldn't bring themselves to do it. So he said that this is the nightmare that followed him out of his dreams. All right. Will goes to see Freddie Lowndes, and it's really cool to see Freddie because we haven't seen her in a minute since the beginning of the season. She said that she's putting her faith in Will. Freddie's not buying the whole thing about Dr. Chilton being the killer. She doesn't believe it. She thinks that Will was right, that Hannibal's a part of it. But then she also says that she wasn't wrong, that Will has a killer in him, which we know he does. So she wants to talk about the Chesapeake Ripper. And Will doesn't really want to talk about it. He says, I guess he's resigned himself to the fact that Chilton is the killer and he's done. So Freddie thinks that Will, like I said, she thought that Will was on to something. Chilton was a bad surgeon, she said, because she did some research. She found out that Chilton, I think he went back to medical school because he was that bad. But Hannibal, as we've seen, Hannibal is good with knives. So she also doesn't believe that Chilton killed Abigail. Now, it's funny how she changed, like in the beginning of the season, she was all like, Will did it, Will killed her, Abigail was afraid, and she's flip-flopping. So anyway, she said, my story with the Chesapeake Ripper has an ending. That's what Will says. She said that hers doesn't, but she's not about to let it go. So Hannibal's talking to Margot. He's telling Margot, he's playing devil's advocate, that Margot's going to have to kill her brother. And Hannibal says she failed because she loves her brother. And you have to allow yourself to hate him. Margot reveals that if her brother dies, she gets nothing. It goes to some type of Baptist church, all the money. And she doesn't get a legacy unless she makes one. So we get to see this gorgeous estate. We see Margot riding in on this horse. And then we get to see Michael Pitt, a.k.a. Mason Verger. If you're not familiar with Michael Pitt, Boardwalk Empire, Murder by Numbers. I could go on for days, but those are the two main ones. So he said, I want to share something with you. So he's holding this little piglet wearing what looks like a cashmere sweater. And he said he brought together the best of all he had seen, because he went to some type of pig farm, so all these pigs or something. So he made this weird maze. And he said a pig is not like other animals. It has a terrible practicality. It's designed to, and then like the whole maze is designed, I think, to excite and aggravate the pigs, I think. That's something that I think he said. So a dummy that's wrapped up in like bacon or meat or something is wearing Margot's suit, and she's just like, that's my suit. And he's like, I'll buy you another one. So which proves, I guess, that relationship, it seems like Mason, even from the movie, Mason's just wasting money on absolutely nothing because he's that insane. And it's funny to see the pigs, because if you watch the movie Hannibal, you know that Mason, and spoiler alert, Mason died via the pigs because Hannibal pushed him into the thingy with the pigs. Because Mason, towards the end, was a hot mess. Gary Oldman, oh my God, was fantastic as Mason Verger. So, he says that he plays like this woman scream, and he said, I want you to be proud of me, Margot. You're all that I have, and I'm all that you have. And then as the pigs, they have this guy, and he's like lifting the fake meat body, and it's hanging down over the pigs, and they reach up and they grab it, and he says, this little piggy went all the way home. Like his little like eccentricities, his little brand of crazy is adorable. It's adorable, but then it's creepy considering what he did to Margot. But it's just like, he's like so childlike and so strange, and it's just like, wow. Just so excited because he finally appeared. I'm like, Michael Pitt is here. I'm happy. So we get to that big scene I was telling you about last week with the big orgy. It's like Alana playing this thing, and then Hannibal's playing her, and Will sees Margot at his door, and Margot's there, as I said before, and I'm not letting this go. Margot's main goal is, I guess, to get Will to try to kill her brother, basically. So, Hannibal's still seducing Alana, then Margot goes, and I guess she's like, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. And then he said, I don't have the right parts for your proclivities. So then Will and Margot start to undress each other. And Alana makes a quote, and this is the smartest quote she's made. Like, this one makes a hell of a lot of sense this episode. People are not instruments. You have to listen very carefully to what you're creating. She says it to Hannibal. Margot and Will see each other's scars. Margot's all cut up. Will was shot. He said he was shot by a friend. That whole scene was so super sexual. I'm just like, NBC, Lordy, Miss Clardy, like, oh. It was so crazy because Will was like having, like, kissing on Margot, and he got on top of her, and then Margot became Alana. And it was a weird three-way between Alana, Will, and Hannibal. Then here comes the Wendigo. Then the Wendigo's either having sex with Alana or having sex with Margot. And then it's like Hannibal, Alana, and Will in bed. And it was like Alana and Hannibal are turned towards one another, and they're kind of cuddling, and Will's just laying there. And then at the end, you see Will just laying there as Margot's getting dressed, and he feels like empty. I guess because he still really loves Alana. So Freddie goes to see Alana. She said that Hannibal was Alana's professor. Not that surprising. And she wondered if Hannibal and Alana were having sex back in the day. Who knows? But anyway, Freddie knows that they're having sex now, and she said that Will was right about Hannibal, and that a lot of his patients are dead. And I think Alana says something like, if you can't beat Hannibal, then join him, or something. It was either Freddie or Alana said, if you can't beat Hannibal, then join him. Hannibal goes to Margot's house to see Mason Verger. He wanted to meet the man Mason wanted to meet Hannibal because Hannibal's Margot's shrink. And he said that something about a special breed of pig. You must know pigs the way you know people. He said that he needs to protect Margot from herself. And Hannibal says even the worst of us need somebody to talk to, like to talk to a therapist or something. And he asked, if Mason considered going to therapy. And Mason really doesn't answer, but he says, he's going to give him a pig. And he says that Hannibal says something like he has to pick the right pig the way that he picks pigs or something. So he's alluding right there to the fact that he picks out his victims. Now I just had a brain fart. Sorry, guys. He was alluding to the fact that the way that he has to personally pick his victims, as you've seen in the first season. In this season, he picks special victims. So he picked a special pig, made a suckling pig, brined and roasted, and it was a gift from Mason, or as he says, a gift from a friend. They start talking about love and kill, that breeders or meat people love and kill what they love, and they eat what they love. So Alana goes running her mouth about Freddie and this whole thing. She's a little snarky, still kind of iffy about Will, and she's just saying, like, Freddie won't give up, she has no boundaries. And Hannibal says boundaries will always be subject to negotiation. And he says something about better the devil you know. So right there, they're telling him, and Hannibal and Will are basically telling her, listen, we're working together. But is Alana picking this up? Probably, but I'm sure a lot of people on Twitter are going to say the same thing that I'm saying. It's too little too late, sweetheart. Too little too late. So Hannibal's like sitting in Freddie's hotel room waiting for her. Meanwhile, Freddie's at Will's house. She's looking around. Will's not there, so she's picking the lock. And she sees... she goes around the house. She's looking around the house. She can't get it, so she goes to the barn. She unlocks it. She sees like plastic, and I'm reminded at this point, me thinking about this right now. I'm thinking of Dexter when Dexter used to put the plastic up, And then she's going through and she sees like a meat locker, and she opens it up and finds all these things and sees a bottom jaw. I'm assuming that jaw is Randall Tier's jaw. And she, even before that, she saw like this skeleton thing or something. I guess it might be the thingy that Randall used to try to kill Will the day before, or a couple days before this. So out of the blue, because while Freddie was looking at the house, Will was watching her. So Will just appears out of the clear blue sky, and Will locks the door. So Freddie pulls out a gun. Then somehow I think she either shoots his hand or hits his hand with a bullet or something. He goes down. They're fighting. He doesn't want to let her leave until she hears what he has to say. They're going back and forth. She pepper sprays him. He grabs her, pulls her hair. So he has like a chunk of her hair in his hand. And then she runs into her car. She gets in. She can't start the car because Will obviously, I guess while she was in the barn, Will cut the wires or something to her car. Maybe he probably did it while she was looking around the house. So, or he could have taken the starter out. So he takes a crowbar. He breaks the glass, grabs Freddie, snatches her out of the car, and drags her. We don't see her anymore. So Will, Hannibal, and Alana are in Jack's office, and Jack found out that, oh yeah, before I even finished, when Freddie was in the car, she was calling somebody, and she couldn't really get the person on the phone. We find out that's Jack, and Jack played the recording for them, and basically tells Will, listen, we found a tape of Freddie getting gas at a gas station somewhere near your house. And Will's like acting all shady, like, no, she could have been visiting somebody else, such and such. But I think Jack, at this point, Jack's starting to get a little close, like a little iffy. So Will provides the ingredients for some type of dish that Hannibal's going to make, and they make it together. And Hannibal passes Will this large knife, and Will's looking at the knife, and it goes dark. So then they're like cooking, and even before that, Will asks, I think Hannibal asks, what type of meat is this? And he says swine. He said, well, a slim and delicate pig. So they're cooking together, and they're eating. And obviously, we all should know, you should know from seeing this episode, obviously that's Freddie Lowndes. That's her. They're sitting there eating her. And some type of notes of citrus or something. They were explaining the dish, but I was just like, they're eating Freddie Lowndes. Oh my God. So then Hannibal says something about it's more flavorful for animals to be stressed. He said, but this one tastes scared. And he says the meat is bitter about being dead. And Will reveals the meat is not pork, it's long pig. So I'm like, bye, Freddie Lowndes. Will says, you can't reduce me to set up influences. He said, I've given up good and evil for behavioralism. And Hannibal says, evil is just destructive. Is this meal an act of God? He starts going into this whole thing about destructiveness and evil and the weather. And is this meal an act of God? So we're looking at this, and all of a sudden Will's face morphs at the end of the episode, because he's asking him, Will doesn't answer, and it morphs right into Hannibal's face. So at this point we know that Will is now Hannibal, or a more disturbed version of Hannibal. So by the next 3 episodes his crazy will continue. But like I said, I didn't sign up for his brand of crazy, but his brand of crazy is insane. I told you guys before, like, I didn't know what was going to happen with that, but it definitely blew my mind in that scene. Like you're eating Freddie Lowndes, oh my God. But anyway, this was a really good episode. We have 3 episodes left, and now that Michael Pitt is here, and he has appeared at a great time, and he brought his own brand of of fabulous craziness. So I can't wait till the next episode. So until then, guys, you guys take care, because I got to get up early as hell in the morning. I got a trip to go to. So definitely check out my reviews for Believe, 24, I have a late one of Mad Men coming up soon. And Survivor. And thank you guys for viewing this. Thanks for watching. Thank you to all my 50 subscribers. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching my long videos. This one's going to be pretty long because I had a lot to say because there was a lot going on in this episode. But anywho, if you enjoy my personal brand of crazy and all that it brings, definitely subscribe to my channel. I would love to have new subscribers. New people, just brains to pick. So I can't just be talking myself. I want to hear what you all have to say. And definitely, if you like the video, thumbs up. And leave a comment here. Let me know. What did you think of this craziness? What did you think of that weird orgy scene and the fifth participant in said orgy? Anywho, guys, thank you for tuning in. This is Sage Valentine. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you guys on Sunday for my Believe review. I will have the Mad Men review out. It'll be a back-to-back thing, and my Survivor POV. So thanks, guys. Love you all. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye, guys. Bye.